I've been longing to be dancing around again.
First, we've got an interview with our Unions Affairs Officer, Izzy Walter.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing brilliant. So, during the past few months, I can imagine it's been quite tricky, sorting everything out so far. So, how has it been going generally?
It's been mixed. It's tricky working remotely and kind of feeling like we've got that distance between us and students sometimes. Kind of the first thing I want to do is talk to people and to kind of find out from you guys what you want to see from us. And so it's tricky feeling like there's that little gap to bridge, but I think this week has been really good for that, and there are students coming onto campus and it's starting to kind of feel a bit more like Leeds. So yeah, it's definitely mixed, and there's, I think, more like immediate challenges facing us. So where before perhaps we would have spent the summer sort of advanced planning a bit more, it's had to be a bit more reactive. There's constant changes, there's things changing every day with people's courses, with people's accommodation, and so we're just having to be that bit more reactive.
So what exactly would you say your role entails, and what should we come to you for?
So I'm the Union Affairs Officer, so really anything to do with the union.
Right.
So I'm involved in the kind of governance of LUU, so I chair the Board of Trustees. So that's really making sure that it's a student voice that's sort of overseeing the governance and the leadership structures of LUU. And I'm also involved in finances, so kind of making sure that all of the money that you spend in the union, whether that be kind of buying a pint in Old Bar, that's going right back into student services. So if you're interested in kind of finding out more about that, then that's something that I'm involved with too. But yeah, really anything to do with the union and everything that you do as part of that.
Okay, so obviously 2020 has been a year like no other. So how have you been able to adapt to your role previous to your predecessors as well for this year in particular?
I think focusing on online engagement with students, so doing more stuff like this and working with you guys. We've been really trying to use Facebook, so we've got the Facebook community group, and we're introducing ourselves on there this week, so that's a great way to engage with us. So that's really been a shift, I think, is focusing on that and knowing that students aren't necessarily going to walk past our office, they're not necessarily going to come into the LUU building straight away, so it's how can we have an LUU presence sort of in a wider scope, like how can we go out into the halls, into the city centre, into different faculties, different schools, and reach out to those people that might not necessarily just be popping into co-op in the same way that they might have done last year.
And so how do you envision the union's role in students' lives for the next year? Overall?
Well, the fun side of it, I mean, that's what we've always been here for, and I think societies like yourselves are still doing so many great things so that people can get involved in the stuff they love, because yeah, your degree's important, but the stuff you're going to remember from uni is the stuff you do with LUU, like the clubs and societies. You can still come to our bars, and we haven't got Freezy for now, but there are still the fun bits, and so I think it's going to be about spotlighting what you're doing and working with our clubs and societies, because I think you're the ones with the ideas of how we can still give students the fun stuff, but we will also be here for the inevitable kind of challenges this year, so representing academic interests, making sure that we're there, having the conversations right up to sort of top level in the university to say, actually, this is what it's like for students in 2020, these are the challenges that we never have seen before because of everything that's going on. So I think there's going to be a big role for us there more than ever this year, is to have those conversations with the university and say, this thing moving online, this change in the library, this is how it actually feels to be a student sitting in that space. And I think our help and support services are going to be really important as well, because inevitably there's going to be challenges for students throughout their experience this year. So being able to offer that support, I think, is going to be really important.
Yeah, I can imagine with new students arriving in Leeds, it's going to be very intimidating for them to come in and not into the unknown. But what do you think the number one piece of advice you'd give to a first year this year would be?
I'm going to go back to clubs and societies, because I think it's awesome. And yeah, find one for you, and they're all still doing things online. We're really looking at ways that we can still do stuff in person. So I think go online, have a look at all the clubs and societies, and try a few. Try the ones that you're like, that looks interesting, that looks weird, they look crazy. Go along and try it. I think that'll be a great way to meet people, and it's more important than ever as well, when you might feel sometimes that you're kind of restricted to your flat or your house, to find those opportunities to reach out to other groups will be great.
And finally, what is the easiest way for students to reach out to you if they ever want to speak?
Email or Facebook, or coming into our office if you are about. So we're upstairs on level 1 of the union. My email is i.c.walter@leeds.ac.uk, or I'm on Facebook as Izzy Walter LUU.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for chatting for us, Izzy. That's been amazing advice you've given there.